another speaker. The groomsman, one of the groomsmen, the best man, Farzam. Hello. So for those of you I have not had the pleasure to meet yet, I am Farzam, or as the Persians will call me, Farzam. I am Human's younger brother. Quickly, I'd just like to thank Anita and Rajiv and my mom for making tonight and last night possible, and for everyone from coming out of town from far. I know Human and Annika are incredibly thrilled to see each and every one of you, so thank you. And also I'd like to thank DJ Frank Delure because he's awesome. So I'm kind of excited to talk about Human a little bit here. He's 36. Which means that a lot of people here from different periods in his life, from family, high school, college, med school, residency, fellowship, his job, and countless others. But there's really only a select few of us who knew him in his early childhood. And by knowing Human in his early childhood, when it was really just me, him, and our parents to really understand who he is now. The sort of metamorphosis you guys heard about a little bit yesterday. So I'm gonna try and spend a little time and paint a picture of what young Human was like and how he changed. Our family left Iran in 1983 when Human was 5, and we spent 4 pretty formative years for Human in Belgium, and then ended up in San Jose, California. Now, I know a lot of us have a lot of siblings and friends and a lot of parents who have kids who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and they looked really ridiculous, and you have memories of that. But the Human that arrived in San Jose in 1987 was just a little bit different than what you're envisioning. That Human entered the 4th grade without speaking a single word of English, just Farsi and Flemish. Want to get this right. And on a typical day, he'd invariably be wearing something like this. Incredibly short shorts, about thigh high, elastic waistband, tight t-shirt tucked in, calf-high socks, and big reading glasses. And for those of you who need visual proof of this, I have it on my phone and I can show it to you afterwards. And basically anything else that was fashion appropriate in Belgium in the 80s that our mom would want to dress him in. Now, what was the first thing that our mom and dad did to help Human fit in his new environment? Sign him up for violin lessons. Now you can imagine, I think we can all agree this is not a fair card for a 9-year-old to be dealt. Human, in typical Human fashion, not only dealt with it, he persevered. Now, a lot of it had to do with good parenting, for sure. We thank our mom endlessly for the courage she had to start her life completely new with our dad, not once, but twice in 2 different countries. And for supporting us as kids and as adults without limit. But still, if I was first born, I would have struggled. Human was particularly well equipped for these changes for a number of reasons. Now, initially, it was his size. He was entering the 4th grade, a big kid for his age. Chubby, but also tall and pretty big framed. And this proved critical because we didn't exactly go to school in the most progressive school districts in San Jose. It was a pretty tough environment when we first started off. So in comes Human, this strange kid that bullies all want to pick on, but they cannot. Because the last thing you want to do is be the kid who gets beat up by the big Flemish-speaking Persian kid wearing tight shorts and big glasses. So size gave him some breathing room for a while, and invariably helped me as well when I would sort of use him as a shield. Because I was incredibly tiny for my age and terribly annoying, and having an older brother who was big was critical. Now, the size was a short-lived advantage. Other kids would grow, and he would eventually have to learn English. So, Human fortunately had also a remarkable sense of drive to learn and to succeed. By the time he entered 6th grade, he had changed 4 schools already. And because of that, making sort of long-lasting, enduring friendships was pretty hard. So he would stay at home and read. He would read Hardy Boys, Tom Clancy books, Michael Crichton books, literally anything he can get his hands on. He read so much that our parents genuinely were concerned about how much he was reading. You would hear in our house, "Human John, all you do is read. Go outside and do something." He even had this marathon-like reading posture where he would sit on the couch, his butt halfway slipped off of it, feet on the coffee table, his back on the couch cushion. I'm sorry about the details, but I just gotta describe it. His back on the couch, his chin against his chest, a book 6 inches away, and he would sit like that for hours. And our mom would walk around and be like, "Human John, you're going to destroy your posture. You're going to have a hump when you grow up." And long behold, Human has chronic neck pains as an adult. Probably early onset arthritis. Now, most of us have friends who have joint ailments from playing sports. With Human, you know someone who has it from extreme forms of reading. Now, to give you a sense of his drive, I'm going to reveal something about him that he may himself not recall, and if he does, he certainly doesn't know that I'm aware of it. When he was around 12 years old, I found a note card in his desk drawer, and on it, he had key life achievements written on it. It was like a roadmap for his life. It had an arrow pointing up to the word Harvard, and then another arrow pointing up to the word doctor. And the crazy part about this guy is that he did exactly what he planned as a 12-year-old. It's not like he went to Yale or Princeton or some other prestigious school. He went to Harvard because he wrote it on the card. He became a doctor because he wrote it on the card. I'm pretty sure at his age, my plan, like a typical teenager, was to be in a band or play in the NBA, and I, like a typical teenager, failed miserably in that plan. Not Human, he had practical plans, the 12-year-old, and followed through on them to T. Now, a checklist like this can speak to his drive, but it can also speak to his obsessive compulsiveness, which we talked about yesterday. And if you knew our father, this wouldn't really surprise you. Or cleanliness being the most notable example. Our dad, you would catch him sitting in a couch in our living room comfortably, and if he would spot a crumb on the ground out of the corner of his eye in our living room, he would feel compelled to get up, walk over, get down on his knees, pick up the crumb, take it to the kitchen, throw it out just so he can come back and be comfortable sitting down again. Now, Human is not far off, but he's going to get closer and closer to that kind of eroticism as he gets older. Fair warning. His apartment is so clean that he's told me his clean lady has actually refused to come help him out of guilt for not having anything to do. Now, I've also become aware that Annika doesn't necessarily share this same compulsion to keep a tidy home. That she, like some of us, or perhaps substantially more than some of us, likes to leave her things around. Like her bags or her shoes or her clothes all around the apartment. Now, Human might be lenient right now because he's been trying to court you, but I'm telling you, from experience living with him, this is not sustainable. I lived with him for 2 years as an adult in San Francisco, and unwilling to clean up after me, because I'm a messy guy, unwilling to clean up after me, he would simply just push my things into neat little mounds across the apartment. And with Annika, as she's aware, he's proposed something a little bit more innovative and probably a little bit more extreme, which is to put a giant bin in the middle of their living room, sort of like my son's toy box, into which you'll put her things when they're out of place. Conveniently, he's not instituted this plan before she formally committed to him. But I would not be surprised if there was a giant bin in your living room when you got back from your honeymoon. So one other quality of Human, the last one I'll go over, is a simple one, and it really defines him, and that is he's a rational person in the purest sense. If he's not one to make a decision simply because it feels right? What feels right, rather than what is demonstrably right, what he can show to be right, is the kind of thinking he'll say that belonged in the medieval times. It is the kind of thinking that our family left behind when they left Iran and went to Belgium and came to the United States. In fact, if something feels right to you, Human's particularly interested in showing all the ways that it is not right. And this can be terribly annoying, right? But oddly enough, it is what sort of makes him an incredibly special guy. He's not there to vent to, tell you things are all right when they're not. He's there to methodically break down your problems and find you solutions. And if you're his friends or his family, he will consistently care about finding solutions to your problems more so than his own, often to a fault. And if you knew our father at all, this would all sound pretty familiar to you. We lost my father when I was 18, and this is how I remember him. This is how I hear people describe him. And memories fade, and certainly my memories of my dad faded, but my connection to him and my sense of who he was is now stronger than it's ever been because of Human. Human is a living memory of our father. If you want to know who our father was, there's no better way than to get to know Human. He has led the Kamel family in his place without missing a step. And just like our father did many, many years ago with our mom, he's had the incredible judgment to find some pretty amazing company to lead the charge with in Annika. So it's not that hard to speak at length about Annika as we've seen the last day or two. She's smart, she's beautiful, she's ambitious. The list sort of goes on, so I'll just go over a few things that resonate with me. She is headstrong, and the reason why that is important is because the Kamel men are particularly stubborn, and being headstrong is critical. She is remarkably loving and genuine. After only knowing her for a brief time, she would ask about and come visit my son, Henry, so often that you'd think she was part of our family for years. And that's just the thing about her. There's absolutely no pretense. She is an open book at all times, and it is incredibly refreshing. And lastly, and most importantly to me, she had this bright, extroverted personality that lights a fire under Human's butt, and we are all very much grateful for that. She is in Human's words, not mine, a social butterfly who must regularly go out and spread her wings. And she just happens to make Human spread his wings as little and undeveloped as they are. For these and so many other reasons, I'm absolutely thrilled to have you as part of my family. And the last thing I'll say is that Human might not have had the foresight to put you on that note card as a kid, but you undoubtedly belong there at the very, very top of the things you could possibly accomplish. So it's the unbelievable bride, my brother who I love to death and was lucky to have her. Congratulations, you guys. Many, many years of a blessed and happy marriage.